Welcome everybody to DOMINUS Ideas. This is very exciting. Today we're joined by some of my favorite people in the world who also happen to be board members of DOMINUS Lab. It's both a privilege and a pleasure to welcome Tony Fessler and Markus Bohi. I'm Dominik Tarolli, founder of DOMINUS Lab, and on behalf of our entire community, welcome. We're so glad you're here. So what can you expect in the next hour? First, we will show you how to build or grow a business you truly love. Then you hear real Christian success stories from our speakers, and you will also get the opportunity to connect with fellow Christian entrepreneurs, mentors, and even investors. And to start our journey, we would love to give you a gift. It's a free ebook that can be a game changer for anyone with the business idea. Inside, you find a simple 7-step workflow to quickly test any idea so that you don't waste any time on something that won't fly. We'll share the link at the end of the webinar. Now, at DOMINUS Lab, every event begins with a Bible verse. And a verse so powerful, it's been translated into over 1,100 languages so that more than 3/4 of the world can actually understand its message. It's a 24 parade of hope, one that begins with God and leads to eternal life. It's John 3:16, and to me, these are the real numbers of hope. So now let's take a moment in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, and whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Now, in the last weeks, a lot of people approached me about DOMINUS Lab and the mission we are on, and I will go into it in a minute. But let me first tell you a story. 2,500 years ago, Nehemiah was a trusted cupbearer to the king of Persia. His life was good, and he earned the trust of the king. But then he heard that the walls of Jerusalem were broken down, and his people had no way to protect themselves. Nehemiah sat down and wept. For some days he mourned, fasted, and prayed, but then he took massive action. He boldly approached the king and asked for his approval to rebuild the wall. And because the gracious hand of God was with Nehemiah, the king granted his request. Then he went straight to work, rallying the people to rebuild their city and their future, even when enemies mocked, threatened, and tried to sabotage them. Nehemiah kept his team focused and unstoppable, one stone after the other. And in a record-breaking 52 days, they finished rebuilding the wall. He not only rebuilt the wall, but also sparked a spiritual revolution, helping his people reclaim their faith, their identity, and their destiny. Because the true transformation wasn't just about the wall. It's who they became in the process. Now you might ask yourself, what has this to do with DOMINUS Lab? So, DOMINUS Lab is a global Christian startup initiative that fills a white space. We are losing a whole generation, especially in the West. The wall is broken, so to say. Our solution? Rebuild it through entrepreneurship. Because throughout the history, Christian renewal leaders were entrepreneurs. Think of Saint Benedict, Saint Francis Cabrini, or Saint Francis of Assisi. And you might ask yourself, that's great, Dominik, but are you sure that this will actually work? Yes, and absolutely. 20 years ago, we helped launch Venture Lab, Switzerland's $16 million national startup program. It created over 1,000 high-tech startups, and now we're doing it again, but this time for Christian founders. DOMINUS Lab is the fast track from idea to market. We connect and empower universities, students, business mentors, startups, and investors. Let's say you have a great business idea, but no money and no clue where to start. That's where we come in. We help you craft a business plan, land your first customer, and connect you with faith-based investors, all free of charge and in the fastest and most effective way that you can imagine. And because this mission is so crucial, we're doing with some of the world's top investor and business mentors. The best part? They're Christians too. And we had an amazing start with our initial event in February 2025. So 2025 is our pilot and fundraising year, and we're hosting in total 8 powerful events. 5 inspirational events, online and offline, to spark bold ideas. 2 business plan mastery workshops in April and August to get market traction fast. And in December, the pitch and investor workshop in Las Vegas, where selected startups have the chance to meet with investors in person. Dominus Lab is a global movement. We are launching in North America, but that's just the beginning. Our vision is global. We are already planning to scale across Europe, South America, Asia, Africa, and Australia. First talks already happened with Christians in Europe and South America because we have big plans. By 2030, we're trying to set a new standard. We will host almost 500 events worldwide. We will help 1,000 new Christian AI startups to get built. This is our mission, and failure is not an option. And to make it happen, we need the best people from around the world. Who is already on board? Our board includes Markus Bohi, Anton Fessler, and myself, all seasoned entrepreneurs with global experience, and you will hear from them actually in a minute. But we're not stopping there. We're also honored to have 2 world-class advisors. Tim Connors, Managing Director at Pivot Nord, a 4-time Forbes Midas List awardee, an amazing entrepreneur and systems thinker. Konrad Hummler, renowned Swiss banker, investor, and former managing partner of the oldest private bank in Switzerland, Begelin & Co. We already have incredible people on board, but this mission is bigger than us, and we are actively looking for more people. So if you feel like God calls you to host an event at your school, university, or church, or you are interested to found a local Dominus Lab chapter, or you want to become a startup mentor, then please contact us immediately via the website. And again, it's really urgent because best case is that we are losing 1 generation. Worst case is we are losing a whole species. Now you might think this might sound a little bit harsh and alarming, but what do I actually mean with that? You might be familiar with the famous futurist and scientist Ray Kurzweil. He is Google's principal researcher and AI visionary. What are his values? Well, you see his quote on the slide, and he predicts that singularity will happen in 2045. Furthermore, he believes human will merge with machines and live forever. Therefore, he takes around 100 pills a day so that he's still alive once that will happen. But the whole transhumanist movement is a rebellion against God and built on a lie that is not so new at all. It's the same lie whispered in the Garden of Eden. You will be like God. But here's the truth. No machine, no matter how advanced, has a soul. It cannot love. It has no empathy. It cannot pray. It does not believe in God. That's exactly the reason why we, as Christians, must lead in the AI revolution. Like Nehemiah, we must build now. It's really urgent because the medium is the message. And now with AI and the digital world, the messages are just changing so fast. They can rewrite history, blur truth, and bend reality. If we are not careful, we trade wisdom for what is easy. We will chase power and pray to slowly push God out. And here are the facts. Screen time 30 years ago was already 15% or about 2 hours a day. Now it tripled to 45% to over 7 hours per day on average. Why is this alarming? Excessive screen time can lead to adverse health outcomes, including poor sleep habits, fatigue, and symptoms of anxiety and depression. So according to Pew Research, the total number of teenagers who recently experienced depression increased 59% between 2007 to 2017. The rate of growth was faster for teen girls, 66%, than for boys, only 44%. Now, the digital transformation is not only impacting teenagers. Let's have a look how it changed how couples meet and stay together. And this data is based on a Stanford study, and it shows that 30 years ago, most of the relationship started to friends, co-worker, bar, restaurants, and so on. Today, over 60% of the relationship start online. This is an increase of over 5,000%. It completely changed how we are interacting with each other. And I think you can guess that this development will just get worse over time because data is not decreasing but exploding. From 2010 to 2018, the data volume grew from 2 zettabytes to 33 zettabytes. But then from 2018 to the end of 2025, experts forecast that we will grow to 101 or over 9,000% growth over the last 15 years. And while this is exciting and there are amazing capabilities coming with it, this is also a danger and a big distractors for our youth. And let's have a look at our attention span. The average human attention span has dropped to just 8.25 seconds. Thanks to smartphones and social media, we're more distracted than ever. To put that in perspective, a goldfish can focus for 9 seconds. We're losing to goldfish. Let that sink in. So it seems that we're all busy like crazy, constantly distracted, and more unhappy than ever. The distraction part is massive and it's getting worse. I'm guessing most of you know who C.S. Lewis is, and you maybe have heard of the Screwtape Letters. In the Screwtape Letters is a satirical novel where a senior demon, Screwtape, coaches his nephew, Wormwood, on how to tape a human soul and pull him away from God. His core advice? Just keep them distracted, so busy and preoccupied that they never have the time to think about God. Or in other words, Satan doesn't need to make us bad. He just make us busy. And if you see exactly that happening in today's world, please type now yes in the chat. And while you're doing that, I want to lead with a positive message of hope. Imagine a world where the next Amazon, Google, Meta, Netflix are Christian companies. This would change a lot, right? And is this just wishful thinking, or do we actually have a fair shot? And let me show you the data. So the good news is that Gen Z is the most entrepreneurial generation ever, even more entrepreneurial than millennials. But even millennials are very entrepreneurial. 66% of millennials dream of starting a company. That's nearly tripled. And entrepreneurs like Musk and Zuckerberg aren't just business leaders, they're cultural icons. Entrepreneurship doesn't just build companies, it shapes culture. It fuels innovation, drives economies, and creates opportunities, especially for developing countries and immigrants. And right now, entrepreneurial activity is booming. Every day in the US alone, we create 10,000 businesses. Innovation is not slowing down, it's speeding up. The world is being rebuilt in real time. Just to be clear, that's 400 new ventures every hour, 7 every minute, and 1 startup every 10 seconds. So while I was showing you the last slide, there was another new business built, and hopefully a Christian one. And there's a lot of hope and reason why we should build Christian businesses. The reason is they're amazingly successful. Chick-fil-A, for example, dominates the fast food industry with an industry-leading 9.3 million in average unit volume per store, and all while being closed on Sundays. Hobby Lobby thrives with 900 plus stores, staying debt-free and highly profitable. Hello, the top Catholic prayer app that has more than 10 million downloads and was actually just number 2 in the App Store just recently. These companies prove that strong Christian values and smart growth lead to amazing success. And with this amazing example, let's turn to our speakers, because I'm now excited to hear from Markus Bohi. Markus is a serial entrepreneur who built and sold multiple multi-million-dollar companies across industries, from action sport to real estate. He co-founded global brands like Special Blend, Forum, and Circa, and later developed a powerful 10-factor formula for business success, now featured in his international bestseller book, Winners Never Quit.
Good morning, I'm Markus Bohi. I'm a serial entrepreneur and started my first business at the age of 12. Currently, I run my consulting firm, manage a brand's licensing business, oversee family businesses in Kansas, am a licensed realtor in California and Nevada, and an author, working on my second book now. In the 90s, we made a bet on the snowboarding industry and started Special Blend, Foursquare, Forum Snowboards, and Genius, brands catering to the snowboard market. One of the challenges we faced was cash flow due to the seasonal nature of the business. I came up with a great idea when I was in South Korea visiting the factory that produced our snowboard boots. I said, why not start a shoe brand that sells products year-round? That kicked off the launch of Circa and C1 Denim, skateboard, footwear, and lifestyle brands, and helped us with the cash flow, propelled our brands even much faster. We all experience ups and downs in life, both personal and professional. Today, I want to share some downs in my life and how I overcame these hurdles. At the age of 15, my 9th grade teacher in Switzerland told me not to bother taking the entrance exam for high school because I would not be able to pass. Well, I studied hard, took the exam, passed, and entered high school. Lesson learned for me: if someone criticizes you, stop and think about the critique objectively. Detach yourself from the emotion, determine whether they have any valid point. Use those points as motivation to grow, challenge of overcoming those doubts. A few years later, I decided to travel to North America with a friend from ag school. 5 days after we arrived in the US, I had to be hospitalized to remove my appendix. In a hospital in my life, in a foreign country no less. Then in my late 20s, I was married a little more than a year, had a 6-month-old baby boy and another baby on the way, when I learned that I had Hodgkin's disease and had to undergo chemotherapy treatments. Lesson learned here: remember who is in control and trust God. In this instance, before the internet and Google, I spent a lot of time at the library, in health food stores, and with a psychologist. I learned everything possible about cancer in general and Hodgkin's disease in particular. I taught myself mental imagery and added vitamins to my daily diet. Of course, chemotherapy was part of the healing process, the glory of overcoming cancer to God and my belief. Another time we were using a San Diego factory to manufacture our snowboard boots, and one morning the factory was closed and the owner could not be found. Mind you, our brand was Forum Snowboards and the team of professional athletes fueled our success. In other words, it would have been a disaster if we could not complete our snowboard production and deliver our product on time. Therefore, we immediately had to locate an alternate factory that had the capacity to complete our production on time, which we did in the province of Quebec in Canada. So you see, sometimes you have to think outside the box and go way out of your comfort zone to find the result. Then we experienced the incident with a sewing needle inside a snowboard jacket. One of our biggest customers, the Japanese distributor, told me they found a 2-inch sewing needle inside a jacket. This needle could have stabbed the user of the jacket in the chest, possibly damaging an internal organ. I immediately contacted the outerwear factory and discussed the findings. Together we came up with the idea to install a metal detector at the end of each production line, which would detect any metal items inside the garments and avoid such occurrences in the future. Once the new process was in operation, the factory detected a pair of scissors inside an outerwear pant. Lesson learned: in business, knowing how to take the next correct step is a competency that must be developed through practice, patience, and awareness of your business environment. These were just a few lessons that inspired me to write my first book, Winners Never Quit. What I learned from these experiences is that there is always a winning formula, whether it contains intelligence, hard work, know-how, perseverance, effort, belief, a moral compass, etc. The solution for me always includes God. In other words, when we believe in ourselves, we will go far, but greater than ourselves, anything is possible. So here I have some tips for startup companies. Peter Drucker, who is a very famous professor that taught at the Claremont Graduate School, once stated, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." Technical skills can be taught to anyone willing to learn them. However, the willingness to learn is not so easily taught. Therefore, I recommend hiring for soft skills. When you use mental and emotional strength to push through when things get tough, you can turn your challenges into exciting opportunities and experiences. And lastly, when you start a new business with partners, define the investment and ownership parameters early on. In other words, the amount of ownership in your company should be linear with your investment into the company. It will be much easier to make tough decisions later.
Thank you so much, Markus. That was amazing. I'm now excited to welcome Tony Fessler, serial entrepreneur and founder of AudioP, a company pioneering innovation in sound technology. And Tony has not only built a leading brand in audio communication, but he's also a visionary thinker, university lecturer, and someone.
Hello, everybody. Also from Switzerland, my name is Tony Fessler, and I would like to take you to the journey of my short life and show a bit how I got into connection with startups. 2005, during my studies of business administration, I founded Start Winter Tour at our university. This was a spin-off of the Start Global movement, which was at that time a startup initiative of the University of St. Gallen. We operated in 3 areas of operation. One thing was Start the Idea. That was a vehicle where we tried to inspire the students for entrepreneurship instead of accounting, which was the main discipline at that time at my school, by having experienced entrepreneurs telling their story, showing their way of success. So this was the kind of entry ticket to entrepreneurship. Then we had Brainstart Consulting. This was a student-run management consultancy that allowed companies and students to work together already during the study. And this turned out very successfully. The companies had a huge demand for the students' workforce. And this was really a nice exchange between students and the real life of the company. Third was the Pioneers Club, where students with existing businesses, there were already a few, met experienced entrepreneurs for a very personal exchange on certain topics in a more private environment. So this is how I started getting into contact with startups, how I tried to set that in that quite stubborn university. And soon about in 2006, I joined Venture Lab. Venture Lab is the national initiative for supporting and promoting promising startups in Switzerland. There I also met Dominik Tarolli, which since then is a very, very good friend of mine. While I was working as a startup coach, I felt more and more uncomfortable because I thought, how can I coach startups when I don't have a company on myself, when I don't have any experience, As I said, the question, can you be a coach without having your own business? Sure not. It feels better to have that experience. And I want to take you to a little journey to 2007. For who don't know, in 2007, this device was not an iPhone at all. This was just an iPod Touch. And when I started my first company, we were in the age of the iPod Touch. Podcasts were not very well known in Switzerland. There was no mobile internet at all. This was very difficult. The idea was very simple. Ordering a voiceover should in future be as easy as ordering a translation back then. So you upload the voice text, you receive the voiceover within a selectable delivery time, and at the beginning we offered 7 standard languages. This we offer over 60 standard languages. Back then, you have to imagine that voice actors still traveled to studios. Imagine the loss of time. But thanks to the internet, we distributed orders internally to the voice actors directly with their own home studios worldwide. It was not really real time, but it was close to real time. And compared to studio, it was real time at that time. This meant for us, we were some of the first able to deliver recordings, for example, for a stock market commentary within 1 hour. So as soon as the commentary... Of course, time was incredibly tough. While I worked in the bedroom, and my first employee worked upstairs in the attic, where I had a little office room. So this was kind of the garage feeling. In 2007, podcasts were absolutely niche, and as there was lack of this mobile internet, we even provided podcasts over a land telephone number. In 2009, I was joined by God, as I say. We pitched for the recording of the Swiss edition of the Bible. This was called the New Syriac Bible. And we won, and this was our first big job, imagine. Total of 80 hours audio from the old had to be recorded, 80 hours. The commission was paid for by the Christian pastoral care for the blind. So the production was actually for the blind. And the idea was that blind and visually impaired people could also find access to God's word. I absolutely liked that vision, and we invested a lot of time and a lot. Nowadays, we have 60 languages, more than 600 native voice talents. We have a lot of collaboration with leading industry partners. We have an unparalleled ease via our online price calculator. People can just upload what they need to be recorded. And as demand increased, we started also with video production. We started with app development, and this was one of the interesting things in the IT sector. We had our proprietary podcast hosting and distribution for the Swiss banks. They had very high highlights. As I said, we completed the whole Bible. We had the honor of producing the investment advisory comment for Bank Wegelin. As you heard before, the former president of Bank Wegelin is in our advisory board. I'm very pleased after this long time that I can work again with him. And Switzerland is also famous for his aircrafts, for his training aircrafts. We work since more than 15 years with Pilatus aircraft and educational audio production. Things got boring, as I say. In 2017, again, Back to the Future, I dared to found another company, and this time I needed God very, very much because I together with my wife. She got out of hospital, and I had no experience in that area. Absolutely. It was in the health sector, and Massage Clinic specializes in recovery and quality of life. And currently we offer a very wide range of treatment methods with 4 therapists. So this is more like a family company. But again, I had no special experience. I trusted in God, and I founded that company. And until now, we are very, very successful. How did we succeed? So, short tips from my side: less is more. Do not gather too many investors in your board. Have as few people as you can. Already with 2 or 3 persons, you have a lot of discussion. This is uninvitable. Gather the right people. I always describe myself as a B, and B usually hires C, but I always try to hire A. A people, they always have more experience than you. They have more easy way of life usually. So take advantage of getting A people around you and let them help you. And one of the most important things I always tell the students and the people is think economical. As soon as you build up high fixed costs, you lose costs, or the longer you stay on track. And in the end, this was the thing that was always with me. Bonus vir sempitero. This is Latin, and it means a good man is always learning, is always a good learner. So never think that you know how it's going, how you have to do it. Always step back 1 step and try again to find out how it could be done. Thank you very much for.
That was amazing, Tony. And you shared my favorite movie there, Back to the Future.
Excuse me, I have not one favorite movie because there are so many good war movies. I need still to watch with my son, so I can't name you one.
Good, but thank you for showing that. I'm so happy that you also joined Dominus Lab like Marcus. So we have now this amazing, real Christian startup stories, and we're now making like a pivot. We are getting ready for our this or that startup panel, and Tony and Marcus will answer founder questions by choosing between two options. And as they answer the question, you can participate and drop your choice in the chat. The chat is very active. I was in there just before, so that's good to see. So let's start with the first question. Inspiration or perspiration? And what we mean with that is like, do the best ideas come from sudden flashes of insight or from just consistent hard work and problem solving? And Marcus, what do you think? And while Marcus is starting, please type in the chat either capital I for inspiration.
For me, the best ideas come from a spark of inspiration.
Oh, okay, got it. So you said like without good ideas, nothing works, but then it's like 99% transpiration, all to humble and to really go after it.
I see it absolutely the same way. It's nice if you have a good inspiration, but at the end of the day, it's just perspiration because work has to be done. There's always much more work. And at that point, you have a good inspiration. If you would know how hard it will be, you will not start with the perspiration. So for me, sure, inspiration.
That's the good Swiss answer. And since we're all Swiss, I guess that's in line. The chat has some I's as well. I see Bradley had an I, Pete also I and P. So both it starts with an idea and inspiration, then comes with the perspiration. So good to see. So let's jump to our second questions. And the second question is how to start. And that's probably one of the most asked questions that I get, even if you have no money. So is it smarter to leverage outside money, aka investor, or to bootstrap? Just to, like Tony described, have the fixed costs down and then just go after it. So the question is really, is it smarter to use partnership or other people's resources money, or should you start small and build everything yourself? And Tony, what do you think? And while Tony's answering, please type in the chat either capital L for leverage or capital B.
My take is very clear from my story that you just heard. Bootstrapping forces you as a founder to be economical with your available funds, whereas with leverage, there is a great danger of simply spending other people's money. I was with my first company at the contest, and luckily I did not $100,000 for free at that contest, because I discussed this today with my worker, and I told him, hey, if I had won this 100,000 for free, I would just have spent it and I would not have made any progress in the market, on the market. I had not gained any customers. So for me, if you bootstrapping, you have to convince first yourself, then your friends, fools, family. Sure, if you want to leverage something like the Third World War or something and you need a lot of money, then this doesn't work. But depending on the case, try to convince surroundings. I just read.
Yeah, but there's actually a good reasoning behind that. But I'm now interested to hear Marcus, because Marcus, could you have
No, and I think for me, maybe it's a little bit different because when we did that, it's so many years ago and money was not just readily available like it is now, like we didn't have the internet and all this. So for me, it's smarter to leverage partnerships and other people's resources to grow faster, but stay hands-on enough to keep control and learn the business, learn the game. Because if, when we of course were competing with other brands, and so we had to kind of try to grow pretty quick, but we also had the advantage of having there was such a demand for our brands that we had customers to give us money up front. Like our distributor from Japan, they gave us 75% of the total order before we delivered anything. So they financed a huge portion of our production just this way. And
especially in the fashion business, I've also some friends in there, and they're basically always have to pre-finance, and it's brutal if you're just missing like one side.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we saw that when the 9/11 happened, you know. I mean, this is like in the middle of our season of delivering products. And there was 1 week when there was no air traffic. So our documents for the shipments from Asia came by plane. Our shipments, of course, came by boat because we didn't get any documents. Even if there was boats in the harbor, we couldn't clear custom on these things. And then, of course, on top of that, people got so nervous about the 9/11 that we have a lot of cancellation.
Yeah, but I think by combining everything, like leveraging and bootstrapping, or being very traditional and very conservative about money, I think that's what encompasses your experience. And we have a very bootstrappy audience here. So in the chat, I see the Keep family out, that we could discuss about that. We will not. We will talk at the later stage with it. And Hillary also had a beautiful input. I started small because it was my only choice. So I'm self-funded at the moment, bootstrap. So that's her comment. Good job. Good. Let's go now to our third question. And this is about the top success factor. And the choice is between talent or tenacity. And the question is really, what matters more? Is it just a God-given natural ability, or sheer perseverance in overcoming obstacles? And Markus, what do you think? And while Markus is answering, please type in the chat T1 for talent or T2 for tenacity. So
For me, sheer perseverance matters more because natural ability.
Mhm. And I think we have a really good example for that, like the famous tennis player, Roger Federer. I mean, he has unbelievable natural God-given talents, but without perseverance, he wouldn't reach the number one in tennis. So you basically also need both also together if you want to go on the top. T3, Federico has T3. What's T3?
I cannot add much. I see it the same way as Markus and you does it. It's tenacity, absolutely. It's nice if you have talent, but there are so many people with talents that vanish over the time just because they have only the talent and they do not engage. So
Yeah. We see it here in the chat as well. So, Frederico, thank you. T3 is T1 and T2 together. So it's T3. That makes sense. And then I have to go with both again. I think you need both. You won't get far if you have no talent, but if you don't preserve, you will fail. Beautiful answer. Now let's move on to number 4. And we are getting. Got it. So how to overcome challenges, and especially the fears, like the fear of rejection or the fear to start and so on. So is it better to have the right mindset or the strategy? And what's your take, Tony? And while you are answering it, the question, please type capital M for mindset.
Yeah. No matter how good a strategy you set up, when things get difficult, to my opinion, you first need the right mindset to overcome the fear. And only then you can worry about the strategy again. So for me, it's mindset first. Strategies can change due to various reasons, but your mindset should not change the whole day, the whole time. So always be aware of what your mindset is. And
Can the mindset trick you at some point? Because I usually, if I'm too locked in and just want to go through it and might God has another will or strategy, I usually reflect a lot.
No, it's I'm with you. It's more his will than you will, I think. But I mean, you need to have a strategy, and you need to adjust time by time the mindset. Maybe you need an accountability body as a suggestion, which helps you from time to time to you should screw on the mindset or you should screw on the strategy. But I think both are depending on various circumstances, but you need at least a strong mind.
I agree with Tony, but I would say the following: changing your thinking is more important because the right mindset unlocks creativity.
Got it. We have similar things here in the chat. M mindset, M keep going forward. It's an iterative process, but don't panic. That always makes sense. Good. Now let's go to the final question. What's the best thing about faith? So the question is the greatest strength of faith the personal confidence it provides or the support of like-minded believers? And Markus, where do you stand? And while Markus is answering, please type C1 for.
The greatest strength of faith is the personal confidence it provides because
Absolutely. Do you have similar I mean, if I go to church, it always lifts me up seeing so many people being together with people, talking, discussing, reflecting, and that community.
yes. And on the other hand, like when you start a new company, there is times if you have some people with you, but there is times when you're alone, and you have you feel like there is nobody on.
I hold it very simple here. The community doesn't have your company, so you are the owner of the company. So you need confidence in what you're doing, who you are. For me, it was always first confidence in how I am, how I act, and then secondly the community. The community can help at certain stages. It's sure nice if you can fall back into a community, but I would focus.
Got it. Susie had a very good chat here. Every dream needs a team. I vote for.
Yes, as I said, It depends if it's just working together or if it's kind of really like we have a good advisory board.
Great. Thanks for sharing so openly, and thanks for all who participated in the chat. That was a lot of fun. We have to talk about that T3 again, so I have to figure it out what T3 and what kind of drink that actually is. So please put it in the chat, Pete, to make that. Now, what? I hope it's okay for you when I'm completely honest with you. And so let's summarize it. So we see the threat of AI, but we also see the opportunity. We know technology is moving fast and there's no time to wait. And we know that you guys care deeply about your faith and you want to make a difference in the world. And if that sounds a lot like you, made for you. But what else do you need? Yes, exactly. You need a plan. An idea without a plan stays a dream. Therefore, we can offer you Dominus Plan, a free business plan, mastery training for Christian startups. So you can validate your idea by talking to real people and testing if they actually want what you're building. Learn to create a repeatable sales system and grow with the customer first mindset. And best, you will be guided by world-class experts, including Thomas Selberger, global thought leader and professor in family business, John Hendry, director of startups at Notre Dame, the #1 Catholic university, and then also Dylan Madden, a social media strategist with hundreds of thousands of followers. Spots are free, but limited to just 20 selected startups. So apply now before it fills up. Now we have a plan and the mastery. Is that all you need? No. We all know that 80% of success is personal behavior. So you need an accountability buddy, a business mentor. And at Dominus Lab, you will also have access to amazing business mentors like Tony, like Markus, who are part of this program. And they will check on a weekly basis and just ask you 3 key questions. First, how many outbounds did you do? Second, how many customer meetings did you have? And third, how much new pipeline or sales did you generate? And I promise you, if you do this consistently on a weekly basis for just 1 year, your business will be completely transformed. Now you have access to a plan, amazing business mentors that will walk with you. Is that all you need? No. You need resources or investments to get started. And at Dominus Lab, we will offer selected businesses or startups Dominus Path. And Dominus Path is really interesting. It's the final model of Dominus Lab, and it's a in-person workshop in Las Vegas with an exclusive Investors Day. So we get direct access to some of the best faith-driven investors in the world. This will be more than ever thought possible in just 3 days. Now you have 2 choices. First option is doing nothing. This is the safe option for now, but as we have seen in the presentation, it can be devastating in the end. Option number 2, you take massive action and be like Nehemiah, rebuilding the wall. And you know, this is the right thing to do, and we will walk with you. First, all the resources and the ebook from today's event are in a OneDrive folder. Just go to bit.ly/DI-resources2 or scan the QR code right now. Included there is also the link to our community on Winley, where we will connect you with business mentors, startups, and investors. So please join there right now. Next, please do us a favor and share Dominus Lab with your friends. If you found value today, spread the word on social media using the hashtag Dominus Lab so we can amplify the mission, because we don't have a huge marketing budget like others, but we have you to spread the word. Thank you. And if you're serious about mastering your business and business plan, then apply for Dominus Plan, the 4-day online workshop designed to turn your vision into a winning strategy. And last but not least, if you feel called by God to get involved, reach out to us today. You can host a Dominus Ideas event at your school, university, or church. Start a local Dominus Lab chapter to unite Christian startup founders, or become a startup mentor, guiding Christian entrepreneurs on their journey like Markus and Tony. And from my own personal experience, few things are more fulfilling than coaching startups and helping them succeed in a secular business world. And just one more thing, I'm incredibly grateful to Markus and Tony for joining us today and being such amazing friends and board members for Dominus Lab. Again, your insights were a true blessing, and we can't thank you enough for your time and wisdom. Then also a special thanks goes to Florentin that supported us behind the scene with the whole technological part. Thank you very much, Florentin. Very well done. With that, I also want to say thanks for joining us. Spread the word and get involved today. Dominus Lab is the new Christian startup movement, and we need you to help create 1,000 Christian AI startups that value more than just money. Thank you, and God bless.